Welcome to Hope's Homemade Kitchen. Today we're doing 5 more flavors of our Protein Energy Bites. Now if you've joined me before, you may have seen my Protein Energy Bites series, and if you haven't, I'll link it at the end of this video. But today we're doing some fall flavors. The fall flavors we're going to be doing today are apple pie, carrot cake, cinnamon roll, maple pecan, and pumpkin spice. Now, if those don't warm your heart and palate, I don't know what will. These are awesome to put into your child's lunchbox, to take to work for a quick snack, or to grab on the go for a quick protein boost. I'll have timestamps in the video for each of the 5 flavors, but we're going to start off with the apple pie. So let's get started and I'll show you the ingredients. The ingredients for the apple pie energy bites are dried apples, dates, rolled oats, almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, cinnamon, allspice, vanilla protein powder, and maple syrup if needed to bring it together. Now the great thing about all of these recipes are you just throw pretty much everything in the food processor and mix it up, roll them into balls, and refrigerate, and you're pretty much done. So what's recommended, I have soaked my dates in hot water just to soften them up a little bit. So the recipe calls for 12 dates. I'm going to put those right in the food processor, and I'm going to save the water just in case I need a little bit to moisten the mixture up. And I have 1 cup of apple chips. These are the Bare apple chips. They're just dried apples. 1/4 cup of rolled oats, 1/2 cup of almonds, and 1/2 cup of walnuts. And then 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed. So I'm going to mix this up at high speed until everything has formed, and I'll check the texture along the way. Okay, it might be a little bit dry. I'm going to go ahead and add my cinnamon and allspice. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. I'm also going to add in 1 scoop of protein powder, and that just gives it a protein boost. This is vanilla flavored, and it seems to be just a little bit dry, so I'm going to add in some maple syrup just to moisten it up a little bit. And if I need to, I'll also add a little bit of water. Okay, it's starting to come together a little better. I'm going to add a little bit of that date water. I think that did the trick. So you'll just want them to be able to form a ball. We're going to use a pretty big scoop. I think this is probably 2 tablespoons. Now each of these recipes might make a little bit different amounts of energy bites. You can adjust the ingredients, but that's rolling perfectly now. That made 12, so depending on the size of your scoop, you'll get about a dozen from this recipe. All right, how easy was that? Now I'll put these in the refrigerator and we'll start on the next one. The ingredients for the carrot cake energy bites are dates, rolled oats, pecans, chia seeds, carrots, vanilla extract, cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, salt and pepper, protein powder, and if needed, maple syrup to bring it together. Okay, next one is our carrot cake energy bites. And I have some dates, 1 cup of dates that are soaking in some hot water right now. And I peeled and chopped carrots to equal 4 ounces of carrots. So I'm going to put them in the food processor, and I'm going to start with those. I want to make sure those are finely chopped. Okay, that looks pretty good, nice and bright. Scrape it down a little bit. I'm going to pulse it a couple more times. Next, I want to add my pecans. 1/4 cup of pecans, 1/2 cup of rolled oats. That's the old-fashioned kind. 1/4 cup of chia seeds. And these have softened up, so I'm going to add them. Okay, so that's 1 cup of dates that have been softened in hot water, a half a cup of the old-fashioned rolled oats, 1/4 cup of pecans, a 1/4 a cup of chia seeds, and 4 ounces of carrots. I'm going to add in my spices now. 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 of a teaspoon of ground turmeric, a 1/4 a teaspoon of salt, and just a dash of pepper. Also want 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And we'll give it a whirl until it starts forming together and we're able to form it into balls. I forgot to add in my protein powder. That's what it's missing. Okay, I think because the carrots are fresh and have a lot of water in them, this is not going to be rolling into a ball very well, so I'm going to add a few more rolled oats, and then we'll pulse it and hopefully it comes together more. Maybe that'll absorb the moisture. So instead of a half a cup of old-fashioned rolled oats, I'm changing that to 1 cup. I think that'll work. It's going to be a little stickier than the other ones, but I think once that oatmeal absorbs the moisture, it'll be just fine. All right, it rolls into a ball. I could also see you adding white chocolate chips to this. It would kind of mimic the frosting of a carrot cake. It would make it a little sweeter, but it's an option. But really, the only sweetener in here is the dates and a little bit from the protein powder. Okay, that made 13 full-size ones and a little mini one. We'll put those in the fridge and start on the next ones. The ingredients for the cinnamon roll energy bites are rolled oats, peanut butter, white chocolate chips, honey, vanilla extract, cinnamon, and protein powder. Okay, now we're going to start on the cinnamon roll energy bites. And this isn't really easy one, you just add all the ingredients. So I have 1 cup of rolled oats, a half a cup of white chocolate chips, a half a cup of peanut butter. I'm using the natural kind of peanut butter. You can use any kind you want. 1/3 cup of honey, 1 scoop of vanilla protein powder, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, let's give that a whirl. I'm going to scrape it down a little bit. Looks like some of the honey and peanut butter is sticking to the side. Okay, that's going to come together real nice, I think. These are very simple. Just the oats, peanut butter, protein powder, honey, and spices. This is going to make 13, so I think that is a good amount for a batch. All right, that's our cinnamon roll energy bites. We'll put those in the fridge and start on our maple pecan. The ingredients for the maple pecan energy bites are pecans, rolled oats, dates, cinnamon, kosher salt, vanilla, maple syrup, protein powder, and sea salt for topping if desired. Okay, next we have maple pecan pie energy bites. We have a half a cup of rolled oats, 1 cup of pecans, 1 cup of pitted soft dates, a half a teaspoon of kosher salt, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, we'll mix those up. Now remember, if it's too wet, you can add a little bit more dry ingredients. And if it's too dry, you can add more wet ingredients like maple syrup. And I forgot to add my protein powder again. 1 scoop of protein powder. That gave it just the right texture. That really does. I just had a little taste of that, and it really does taste like a pecan pie. I could see also grinding some pecans and maybe rolling these in pecans would give it a nice presentation. That made 11 pretty large ones. We'll put those in the fridge and we'll work on our last one. The ingredients for the pumpkin protein energy bites are rolled oats, sea salt, pumpkin spice, chia seeds, pumpkin puree, peanut butter, maple syrup, chocolate chips, and protein powder. Okay, our last flavor is pumpkin pie spice. We're going to start off with 2 1/4 cups of rolled oats. And again, it's really easy. Everything goes in at the same time. 1/4 cup of chia seeds, a 1/2 cup of pumpkin puree. That's just the pure pumpkin in the can, not pumpkin pie filling. 1/4 cup of, I'm using the natural peanut butter. You can use any kind. 1/3 cup of chocolate chips. 1/4 cup of maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice, a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt, and 1 scoop of vanilla protein powder. You want to scrape it down if it sticks to the sides like that. Now this is kind of like our carrot cake ones. This has the pumpkin in it, so there's a lot of moisture. So you'll have to check it to see if you need to add more dry ingredients. It just needs to be able to be shaped into an energy bite. Okay, it's still pretty moist. I'll just have to check it to see if I need to add more dry ingredients. I'm going to add a little bit more rolled oats, just a couple more tablespoons, I think. Okay, that's going to be fine. It's going to be a little wetter than some of the other energy balls, but I think those oats will eventually absorb that moisture. Okay, I'll form them into balls. This looks like it's going to make more than the other batches. If you've made it this far in the video, and you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do that so you can follow my other recipes. I'd love to have you on board. And if you're interested in energy bites and you haven't seen my other videos on energy bites, I do have a playlist of high protein energy bites. So go check that out if you haven't done so. Next, we're gonna put all these together and do a taste test. So we'll be back. Okay, here's the final product from left to right. We've got apple pie, carrot cake, cinnamon roll, maple pecan pie, and pumpkin spice. Okay, now for the final taste test. I'll give you my honest opinion of each of these and which one I like the best. Okay, the first one is the apple pie, and I'll let you know, does it really taste like apple pie? A very subtle apple pie taste. I wouldn't say it screams apple pie, but it's really good. I like that one a lot. Okay, the next one is the carrot cake. That one is super moist because of the actual carrot and the moisture from the carrots in there. I wouldn't say it has a ton of flavor, so that one's probably not my favorite. Cinnamon roll. This is promising. Cinnamon roll is super good. I know there's a nut butter in there, so it has a little bit of a nut butter, which you wouldn't typically find in cinnamon roll, but those white chocolate chips really give it a good sweetness and a subtle hint of cinnamon. You could probably even add more cinnamon. I think we did a teaspoon of cinnamon in there. Okay, the next one is the maple pecan pie. Now that one really tastes like a pecan pie. I like that one. It has some salt in there. I don't know if you really need the salt, but it does give it an interesting flavor. But it definitely tastes like a pecan pie. And the last one is pumpkin spice. That did have chocolate chips in it, so it's kind of like you're eating a pumpkin chocolate chip muffin. The pumpkin spice is very prominent, and it's good. Real pumpkin in there. chocolate chips. It does taste like a pumpkin chocolate chip muffin, so this is a good one. My favorite of these has to be the maple pecan pie. And I am a big pecan pie lover, so that's no surprise really. I like that one the best. And then probably the cinnamon roll. I wasn't too particularly excited about the carrot cake one, but I think it would be a lot better if you added some white chocolate chips in there. It would just give it more of a sweetness and kind of mimic the flavor of the icing on a carrot cake. Thank you so much for joining me on Hope's Homemade Kitchen as we made fall-themed energy bites. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel, hit the bell for notification of more videos, and comment down below. At the end of this video, I'll link my Energy Bites playlist, and I hope you take a look at it. We'll see you next time.